Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Fluffal deck, which was called Furnimal in the OCG, but I guess we'll have to deal with the Fluffal name, which I kind of hate. Anyways, this is basically a fusion deck, but more than that, it's really focused on searching and recycling. It seems to be big focus on consistency to get the cards you need to keep on searching. A lot of searching available to this deck, a lot of ability to recycle from the graveyard. So that seems to be the big part about it. It's these stuffed animal cards that turn into kind of fiend monster cards, which are pretty interesting in how they play. I do think they have some difficulties because of the weakness of their cards, but I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. This is a very new archetype, very new deck for me. This is my first build, so it's a little experimental, so hopefully you guys will be nice to me, but I'll definitely ask for suggestions at the end. But I do hope you guys like the build that I'm doing here. To start this off, we're going to be running one Edge Imp Sabres. It was called Scissors in the OCG. I don't know why they changed that name. Basically a big card for you, allowing you to make big plays. Really necessary to make your fusions, so it's a very important card. The reason you only won't run it at 1 is because of its really nice ability to keep special summoning, keep searching out, keep getting this card out. So really not a big issue for us to keep abusing this card. You don't really need to run it at more. You can. It really depends on what you're doing with your deck. Also can be a really interesting card in other decks, so you might see that at some point. And then we're running 2 Fluffal Bear, just allowing us to search out Toy Vendor, Polymerization, and this card is also used for one of the fusions, so it becomes an important card in that regard, and nice to be able to get some of the things you want to get. 2 Fluffal Cat, just allowing you to recycle, which is again very powerful and leads into what you want to do with the deck. Fluffal Dog, somewhat of the beater in this deck, 1700 attack, allowing you to search out whatever you want, which is really powerful, especially the fact that you can get it on normal or special summon, which will combo well with a lot of other things that you might want to do in this deck type. And then Fluffal Owl, another very powerful card that in normal or special summon we can get Polymerization. Again, we can use this card as a Polymerization, so we're able to do even more plays, so it becomes a very powerful card in that regard. Rabbit, similarly to Cat, allowing us to search out, which again is very nice for what we're trying to do. Junk Synchron, allowing us to make nice plays with this. We can get out what we need to fuse again. We can get things back from the graveyard to make other plays with Synchros and XYZs and all kinds of stuff, so I like Junk Synchron for this deck type. And then we're running kind of like a tour guide engine, basically allowing us to get out Edge Imp Sabres. So nice to search that out so we can get the fusion started. We can also make additional XYZ plays and get things started. So just works out really nice with this deck and helps the fact that we're only running 1 Edge Imp Sabres. And after the spells, we're going to be running 2 Creature Swap. So in this deck, we have a lot of weaker monsters, so I think Creature Swap is nice because we can recycle from the graveyard and we don't necessarily need to have things on the field. So I feel like Creature Swap can be pretty powerful, especially with the lower attacks that we do have. 2 Forbidden Lance. I really feel like Forbidden Lance is a very powerful card for this deck in order to protect our fusion monsters that are our focus, but also that 800 attack difference I feel like is very nice for the fact that our fusion monsters, our boss monsters if you will, are pretty weak. So I do like Forbidden Lance for this deck type. 1 Fusion Recovery, just a nice card to give us some consistency, not completely necessary, but I find that it can help. 2 MST, 3 Poly. 3 is not actually necessary. You could probably get away with 2. I'm still kind of debating this because of our ability to research and cycle. This might not be needed at 3, but I'm still kind of, playing around with it. 1 Raigeki, 1 Soul Charge. Again, we get those bonus effects from special summons, so Soul Charge becomes more powerful with cards like Dog, which is nice. 2 Toy Vendor. You could definitely run this at another one if you want. It really depends on what you're trying to do, but this card is very nice for setting up what you want to do. And again, special summoning just sets up what we want to do so well. And it has additional consistency in its ability to search out, which is nice if it does get destroyed. Otherwise, stable traps, not too much to say there. You could definitely run more back row, but we do have a lot of spells to try to support our deck type. For the extra deck, we're going to be running 2 Fright for Bear, 3 Wolf. Bear just can be a powerful card if it's able to destroy monsters continuously, and Wolf can obviously lead to OTKs and big plays, depending on how many Furnimals you're getting up and what you're trying to do. With the Synchros, what you'd expect, Catastor, Armades, Armory Arm, Beelze, just with the fact that we can get out, a Synchro and then Junk Synchron, so potentially get that out, and Goyo Guardian. Synchros aren't the biggest focus, but obviously it adds to some things we can do. For the XYZs, just with the fact that we can special summon and get out Dog pretty easily, I decided to put Exciton Knight and Silent Honor in here because they're both very powerful. And for the rank 3s, the ones you'd expect, Alucard, Leviair, and Leviathan. Obviously a bunch of other ones you can run, but just up to you. So now for the side deck, if you haven't seen a video of mine before, in the side deck I kind of just go through other recommended cards, other ideas, other things I'm kind of throwing out there that could be powerful for this deck. Not really a side deck for matches, just other things that you guys might want to think about. So I feel like Kristya could be useful for this deck if you set up your fusions. You can manage the graveyard really well and get out Kristya pretty easily, so I feel like that could be powerful. Armageddon Knight can search out things things and send them to the graveyard to make plays you want to do. You can easily send Sabres to the graveyard, make plays with that later on. This can combo well with Summoner Monk, which I'll get into a little bit. Prisma, obviously, in a fusion-based deck, and then you can search that out with Emergency Call. Fluffal Leo is a beater. It doesn't help you do any of the things you're trying to do with this deck, but it is a beater if you want to have access to a beater in this deck type. Giant Rat can search out all those other Fluffals that are, weaker, which is pretty much most of them. Not a lot of high attack Fluffals. As I was saying before, Summoner Monk can really have good plays for you. With Summoner Monk, what you can do is dump Toy Vendor, so then you're able to search out a Fluffal, and you're able to summon Armageddon Knight to send Edge Imp Sabres to the graveyard, so you can make XYZ play. There's a lot of other plays you can do that combo well with that. That might be more powerful than what I'm currently doing. I'm still kind of playing around with it, but that's definitely something to keep in mind if you're building this deck. It looks like that could be a pretty powerful combo. Dark Fusion, another way to run this deck, can help protect your monsters, obviously, because we're running Fiend-type fusion monsters, so it just works out well. United We Stand, Mage Power, anything that increases attack might be useful for this deck because of the fact that our boss monsters are weak. So I feel like if you do some additional support with spells, those fusions can become very powerful. You could also consider running Fusion Reserve, that just came out, could be a powerful card for this deck. Spirits of Earth Kuragani can be useful to get what you need from the graveyard to make plays. I feel like this could be useful for you to exchange specific things you want, especially because of the fact that that special summon, again, gives you access to those searching abilities, which is just really cool. Vanity's Emptiness, if you want to lock down after you have the fusions out, that could be really powerful, because if you lock down and then you get out your fusions, your opponent isn't gonna have a lot of options to deal with you. Obviously, you can run other Synchros, Black Rose, Scrap Dragon, things like that if you want to do that. Because of the ability to summon fusions that are level 6 a lot, you could bring in rank 6 XYZs. It's sort of risky, and obviously it kind of gets rid of your fusions that you might want to be focusing on in this deck, so it's up to you, but you can easily bring these guys out if you want to. And additionally, you can bring out like level 1s because of our few level 1s in this deck, but I don't think it's as necessary with what you're trying to do. So that's my Fluffal deck. Again, just a fusion-based deck. Very fun to play, very nice to do the consistency and recycling. The big issue with this deck is the lack of power. Our main focus is bringing out monsters that have 2200 or 2000 attack, which when you just put it like that, it makes it sound very weak. So we try to support it with a bunch of other things that also have power, like Synchros and XYZs and Forbidden Lance and, Creature Swap and all that other stuff, so we have access to additional power before we go into big plays with OTKs and increasing attack through some of the things we're trying to do. So hopefully, in the future, it'll give access to more fusions that hopefully will have more power. But until then, I think it's going to be kind of on the weaker side. I still think it's a really fun deck type, and I really would like it to be expanded in the future. But if you guys do have your own Fluffal decks, let me know, post in the comments below. You can let me know the cards you're using. Maybe you can make some suggestions about some stuff I didn't think about that I didn't mention that could be really powerful. Again, I'm very new to this deck type, so I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that I'm still not aware of. But I am really liking this build, and I'm liking a lot of the plays we do have access to. But that's about it for me. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.